Hello, my friends. Many of the good events happened for Ukraine recently on the front lines. With numerous of the counterattacks that Ukraine performs, even going to the rear to supplies, basically, of the Russian army, for example, in Pokrovsk direction. And in my latest video, I told you about successful operation of Ukrainian army. But here I want to tell you about not good situation, which appears to be happening in Kupiansk. And the Ukrainian military command again needs to react on that right away, probably using emergency fire teams as usual. Well, I'm speaking about the Kupiansk city in the Kharkiv Oblast, where Russians advanced quite a lot for the last 24 hours. The strategy for the Russian army is the same. They move with sabotage groups, small ones like 2, 3, maximum 5 people. They take the ground in the tree lines, in forest spots. They ambush sometimes Ukrainian forces, and later on Russia advances with their major force. Also infantry, mostly. But they are equipped with motorcycles, all-terrain vehicles, standard Lada vehicles, which allow them to move very fast. Yes, most of the stuff Ukraine ambushes with the help of the FPV drones, but in many of the cases it's not enough. Russia moves still ahead because they have lots of the infantry. And as it is reported right now, in the northern and northwestern outskirts of Kupiansk, there is the presence of the big group of the Russian army, of the Russian infantry. And physically, they already entered the city itself. And Kupiansk is way bigger compared to Pokrovsk and Mirnograd or Konstantinovka. It is basically the main hub for the Ukrainian army. Well, before Russians tried to advance to Kupiansk from this side of the river, this is the Oskil River that goes and divides the city into two of the parts. In Sinkivka, Russians were totally ambushed. Russia actually lost thousands of the forces just in this small village. That is how many forces they sent here for the last couple of years. But this attack vector for them, well, it was successful, unfortunately. Yeah, sorry, I'm showing it in a yellow color, but it's the most visible just for you to understand. I really like this map presented by MyCoSense 3 Analytics. So here you see the recent advancement of the Russian army. It's clearly visible and they are already in the city, officially in the city line. Well, for now it's just a private sector, and here are some of the farms and again small households. But you see that the gray area already expanded to the government office building, the local one. And next Russia may push to the city itself, so it's the huge threat now for Ukrainian army in Kupiansk. And if Ukraine loses control here, well, I would say that this entire area from Kupiansk to Kolesnivka will be closed by the Russian army, because there is no way of how to supply Ukrainian army without this important crossroad. Well, in the middle here there is the bridge across Oskil River, but it was already destroyed by Russians, by their aviation gliding bombs. So again, it's the failure of Ukrainian defense here, because how else Russia would go with their major army forces through this very thin corridor? It means that it wasn't controlled here, despite Russians created this bridgehead before in Dvorichna. Later on they moved to Zapadne and then to Kalinovo. It didn't happen very fast. No, it was slow operation. And finally Russians managed to jump to Sobolivka. It's a lot, guys. And for the last 24 hours, they advanced by at least 5 kilometers here. So what is the proper action here? Well, you may say cutting this very narrow part of the Russian army controlled area. But Ukraine cannot send the forces into this very tiny pocket. It could be a trap. And offensing from this side, from Kupiansk itself, you need to cross the river. For this wide place, you need engineering facilities, some of the pontoon bridges which are impossible to deploy because of the constant Russian drone strikes. And this map is like that for now. Maybe we don't know the actual situation on the ground. Maybe Russia already controls the R79 road to Kupiansk. Already could be like that, because this info comes with delay. Well, Ukraine is using some of the drones in this area. The spots were confirmed. Some of the Russian soldiers who went to the local buildings were captured by FPV and drone drops. And there is also presence of Ukrainian infantry in this place. Ukrainians are using the tactics of the small and sharp counterattacks, moving on those kind of the vehicles. I think it's L200 Mitsubishi pickup truck. Yeah, it's in lack of the armor, but it may move fast. Here the actions were coordinated between Ukrainian drone operators and Ukrainian infantry. Basically, Russians were blocked in this house and it was kaboomed. Yeah, the house with the Russian soldiers inside, but the general situation, as you may see, for Kupiansk is not good at all with this Russian offensive. And here we have the confirmation of the Russian presence very close to Sobolivka village, and this is Kupiansk. And the deep state military map also confirms this advancement, so it was yesterday and it is today. A big offensive of the Russian army. You may see they already entered the city. Well, maybe as a variant, Ukraine might try to cut Russian army in Kindrashivka at first, and only after that it would be possible to cut this supply line for Russia. But we'll see. This situation is urgent, and the Russian movement, if we take and count also the gray area, is almost 4 kilometers, let's say. Not 5 in general, but 4 kilometers. It's also quite a lot. South of the Russian army is almost 4 kilometers. I mentioned 5, but in reality it's almost 4. But still, it is quite a lot for a single day, and without the urgent action from Ukrainian side, it could be too late to cut anything here, because Russians will go to Kupiansk with a major force. So before I told you about this one, that it was the urgent situation for Ukraine to react on that immediately, and there was the prompt action done from Ukrainian military command to seize this Russian assault. Yeah, it was successful. And now in Kupiansk, the situation is similar. You see that Russia may strike Ukraine from different directions, and Ukraine basically has a limited amount of those fire brigades which Syrskyi may send and seize the Russian attacks. 3.5 years of war. It is understandable that Ukraine has tremendous losses as well. Yeah, Russia has more losses, but Ukraine too. And the soldiers who are very capable, they also have losses. So there are less and less of those guys who are capable to stop those kind of the Russian breakthrough attacks. From the good news, we have the confirmation from the deep state military map source that Ukraine liberated Novomikhailivka village, but here Russians push quite a lot in Serblansky forest. Ukraine mainly left it. So this northern situation needs more attention from Ukrainian military command in general. Novomikhailivka is obviously good, but if we lose Kupiansk city, it would be a significant loss. Yeah. Well, also we have the situation in Kamensk. This is the Zaporizhia direction. One more Russian attack attempt, and they're very close to Plavne and also kind of close to Stepnohirsk. Ukraine is using aviation here. So Russians already crossed this bridge and went to the local house, and the house was later on kaboomed with the help of the Ukrainian aviation. Probably it was the gliding bomb dropped from MiG-29. That's why this area is the gray one, as well as those fields. Ukraine tries to stop Russian assault with the help of drones and aviation. What is also concerning that Russians managed to move eastbound, creating this big bridgehead, I would say. With their previous attack, they were kicked out from the place. It is clear that for this attempt, Russia planned their attack better, and they also use way more forces than before. It is 100%. However, guys, in general, I don't see the success for the Russian army in Zaporizhia direction because of the significant defense lines of Ukraine in this place, and also terrain is very flat, so all of the Russian forces are clearly visible. There are just few of the tree lines, especially when we are coming closer to the autumn time and winter. It's basically no place to hide here. Oh, there is one more Russian Solntsepak that was finished by Ukrainian drone strike. Awesome. Well, Russia tries to use Solntsepak more because it's really devastating weaponry. It evaporates absolutely everything in vast area, in trenches also. Very, very serious weaponry, but it has its own downsides, limited range. Ukraine is capable to reach it with the help of the drones, and it's kind of the old video, I would say 1.5 months ago, but it was just published today. And what we have here, it's the 225th Assault Regiment of the Ukrainian Army. They go with 2 Bradley vehicles. Usually it's only 1, but now we have 2. Oh, it probably was hit. Or maybe, yeah, there were Russians, and the vehicle continued movement. It has significant armor, very robust. I think it's some sort of the evacuation mission, and Russians are in those forest or tree lines, is better to say. It's hard to tell where it was happening, but 225th operates in Sumy direction. Well, actually I have the geolocation already. It's Voronezh village, Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. Well, if those 2 Ukrainian Bradleys were filmed not far away from Voronezh village in Dnipropetrovsk region, it means that Russians propelled quite far. And here we have it on the map, expansion of the gray zone. So in this worst line Bradleys were filmed, Russians were at the positions. From that video it's hard to tell whether it was the Ukrainian attack operation or withdrawal of the forces. Maybe, as I mentioned you already, evacuation of the wounded personnel. Looks like one more Russian supply road. Bukhanka then? Yeah. Just a single direction somewhere. Yeah, the situation for the Russian supplies is not good at all. They are in deep trouble, which actually led to Ukrainian success with the counterattacks recently. Oh, Russia Today published the report about this M113. After all, it's not Gast-71, it's definitely trophied M113 vehicle. And Russians decided to put American flag and the Russian one there. Yeah, clearly it's M113 and it was filmed for Russia Today propaganda video, nothing more. Guys, it was the Frontline update. I'm gonna film one more video today, and as usual, thank you so much for your kind support on Patreon. The link for it is in the video description just below. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.